Number two, and it deals again with South Africa, I guess, in a way. South Africa and the United States, and it's Boers in America taking jobs from Black people. Again, Boers in America taking jobs from Black people. For those that are unfamiliar with the term Boer, this is to identify the white person in South Africa. Well, apparently they have gotten asylum. Asylum, yes, they've gotten refuge in where? Not another African country, in a Western country called the United States. So this topic deals with two videos that we're gonna be watching and listening. Stand by.
White supremacy doesn't make economic sense. I see it around here. I see these guys when I go to Walmart. They usually have in short pants and they speak in Afrikaners to each other. It doesn't make sense to me in economically. If you bring people in from another country to work on your farm and you're paying them more, that means you have more going out from your pocket to them. What you're doing is really shutting down productivity because everybody is productive. Everybody has creativity. And until Mississippi overall realizes how racism hurts them, Mississippi will always be one of the last rated states in the country. White supremacy doesn't make economic sense.
All right, and it looks like we just had two videos of the same topic. And again, you are just tuning in to Shoot the Breeze episode 239 here on the Bitter Medicine podcast. I am Jacadero, filling in for Brother Koku. Man, and I'm having a great time diving and building with my brothers and sisters. And our topic for Shoot the Breeze number 2, Boers in America, meaning white South Africaners in America taking jobs from Black people in the United States of America. A little background, if you guys don't already know, since this current U.S. administration has been in power in the United States, they've given asylum. Yes, the foreign policy has allowed white South Africaners to relocate to the United States on a temporary visa asylum status. There is talk about if they stay permanently, but so far it's caused friction in some of these southern United States like Mississippi. All right, before we get into the thoughts of our panelists, Trigger Happy says it depends on how this go? Because some Boers, again, white South Africaners, are going back, but they are doing things like this that becomes a problem. We'll start off with Black Steel. Black Steel, what say you? Boers in America taking jobs from Black people. You think so? And then also, what's your thoughts on this entire ordeal?
I mean, of course they are, right? That's what Trump bought them for. Of course they're taking jobs from Black people. Um, the Republican Party in the United States wants a white nationalism. They're really leaning into white nationalism, right? They want a white country. That's what it boils down to. Let's not be afraid to call a spade a spade. They want a white country. There's no room for Black people, whether we've been here 4 years or 400 years. So they're being brought in for the express purpose of depriving Black people from their homes or their jobs or whatnot. This is by design. They're fleeing a quote unquote white genocide, from South Africa that only about 50 of them left. And they came to the United States looking for sanctuary. And that's really all it boils down to. They did something like this in countries in Latin America. The population was look where they're going. Parts of the South. The South is the blackest part of the United States. Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana. That's what it's called, the Black Belt. Think about within history. For example, in the Dominican Republic, to lighten up the population, to replace different, all the same white nationalist, white supremacist behaviors are on display with this administration. So yeah, it doesn't make economic sense, and I understand what he's saying, but white people don't mind fucking up their economy if they think they'll hurt Black people even more. That's what I think a lot of Black African people don't understand. These white people are psychopaths. If they'll lose a toe if it means you're going to lose a foot, right? They'll kill 2 of theirs to kill 5 of yours. Their motivation is just merely by domination. They don't like the fact that white African people in the United States have gained anything, and they want to take it all away from us. So them bringing these Boers, Afrikaners, and bringing them to South Africa, it is completely par for the course. We got to be prepared because this is really just the opening wave. Trump is never going to shut the door for them. And assuming he ever leaves office, which I don't think unless he's got to die first. Outside of that, I don't think he's trying to stay there permanently. We're going to have to respond as Black people. And we have to be organized because, again, it's inappropriate behavior. Petitioning the government isn't going to accomplish anything because this is what they want to do. I'll leave it there.
Woo, yeah, man. Yeah, a lot from Black Steel. I appreciate you, Black Steel. Juana, what's your thoughts? These white South Africaners in America taking jobs from Black people, good, bad thing, and also what do you think of the entire ordeal?
Well, for me, I see opportunity. I see opportunity for the Black farmers to petition African governments to assist and aid with commercial farming in those in African countries. I see an opportunity. And Trump, unfortunately, for right or wrong, he's opened the door to it. And I don't know whether you could convince Black farmers to say, hey, the government subsidies that the American government was supposed to pay you, obviously, it's in your face. They are redirecting those subsidies and resources to foreign farmers to come into the country and to do the same thing you've been petitioning the government to do for years and years and decades and have been failing at. Here's an opportunity. Come to our country. Come to Zimbabwe. Come to Ghana. Come to wherever in countries like the black populations are really identical, because in Mississippi you get a bunch of West African doing farming there. So black, well, let me say West African. You get a bunch of Black Americans who were formerly West Africans doing farming down there. So it's not dramatically different for you to go to Ghana and do the same kind of commercial farming and teach and provide some kind of sustenance for yourself and your family. I understand your bones are buried here. I understand blood and soil, but ultimately, at the end of the day, if the governments of the United States is showing and telling and showing you to your face that we are not going to support black farmers in this particular area, why be tied down to that area? Why be tied down to that area? And I think that the African governments need to approach black farmers, black American farmers, because they have the skill set. They have the skill set to do commercial farming on a large scale, and you have hectares and hectares of land that is necessary. They don't have the necessary talent to understand how to go about doing the commercial farming in the numbers that's needed. Well, there's a gap. There's a gap, and you have all these people who have the talent, but they don't have the land to exercise their talent. They don't have the resources and the subsidies they need to exercise those talent. Well, I would approach them, and really, ultimately, is me having the ability to convince them to say, here is another opportunity for you. Here's another opportunity for you, and it could be of mutual benefit. I don't know if the black farmers in Mississippi will go for that. I don't know if you'll be able to convince them to go for that, but I would approach them with that opportunity. I really would. Because the government in the United States is telling you to your face. I've been hearing on the internet, black farmers been crying and lamenting for years for not having the ability to get the subsidies they need to continue in commercial farming in certain parts of the South. Well, if they're not going to do it, maybe someone else might invite you in to do it. And who better than African countries, you know? But that's just my optimism talking, maybe. So I'll leave it.
A question to both of you guys before we take a look. Oh, let's actually take a look at some of these comments here. Trigger Happy says depends on how this goes because some Boers are going back, but they are doing things that like this become a problem. Koku says, from what I understand, they aren't going back on planes back to Africa. They are going to other parts of the South. And then Trigger Happy adds, white immigration becomes the motivation for all settler colonial countries when they want to get rid of certain populations. All right, Blacksteel Buana, let me play advocate for a little bit. Would, let's say, a country like Senegal, and they, large, probably 99.9% black country in Africa, and we have the African Americans. Would it be right for, let's say, the small white or European or maybe even Asian minority in Senegal to feel a type of way if the government of Senegal were to have an open foreign policy with African Americans and bringing them over? Would they be right to feel any type of way the way that we feel? Blacksteel Buana, what say you guys?
If you can show to whatever population that you're going to how it would be of a benefit in people coming in and doing certain things within the country itself, what do you have to say about it? It's done all the time. The Americans got very mad when Vivek Ramaswamy said, if we want to bolster our technical industry, we have to import skilled labor. Why? Because we do not have enough people within our country themselves to do the things that they need to do. And you know what? Trump eventually he initially backed Vivek Ramaswamy in those statements, but in throwing red meat to his base, he had to walk back that idea, because you don't want this quote unquote idea of looking at Americans as lazy or not really being interested in the technical field. But the reality is, within any society, you're going to have shortfalls of skill. But because Trump is so heavy on this, he is playing this immigration card so heavy, he can't go. It's very difficult to go back on that. But the reality is, if you want to grow your country, you're going to have to import skilled labor. And America is bully for importing the best and the brightest from different parts of the world to grow their economy. So if they could do it, why can't other countries follow that level of success? I don't know. I don't know. And this is what I would sell to so-called minorities. If we don't have enough people to do it, of course we're gonna have to recruit people from other places. Do you want to see a better Senegal or not? Do you want to see a better Ghana or not? Well, this is what it takes to do these things, because you can't only do it in-house. I mean, eventually, if you create programs towards that direction, sure, fine. But until then, what are we gonna do now? You know what I mean? So this is what I would probably sell to people like this. Well, will it, you know, will I be able to convince them? Who knows, Jacadero? But I just try to push reason to people, but I recognize and I understand more and more every day that the majority of people are very unreasonable. They don't really value reason and things like that. They value emotions over reason. And this is why you see the results that you see, because people play into your emotions. And then when you have ridiculous consequences, everybody looking around to point the finger. But it is what it is. Pridefulness and proudness will cause a man to starve. I just, I don't know. Maybe that's me. I'll leave it cool. A Jacadero.
Well, Buana, before you go, Black Sailor, I apologize. We'll give you a chance to answer my question. Also, to add in, Buana, I want your thoughts on this. Cheryl says, greetings, what's going on, Cheryl? She has a question, a serious question. What jobs specifically are white immigrants taking from Black people in the United States? And this is both to you and Black Sailor. Buana, I mean, we just got you, so we're going to stick with you on your thoughts as well. What jobs are
well,
these?
I don't. For me to answer that question, let me say this: there has been, in terms of the farming industry itself, that many Black people. Well, this is Trump's reasoning. This ain't my reasoning now, Shirley. So don't get upset at me. But I'm saying that there has been a shortfall of people who want to engage in the farming industry, picking fruits, cutting cabbage with, many Black people and white people. Many people don't want those kinds of jobs anymore. So of course you're gonna have to recruit people to come in to do certain specific jobs. And it's not to say that Black people are designed for farming and things of that nature, but many Black people used to farm. Many Black people, we had a thriving agricultural industry in the South, very much so. Even in this country, by the way, but Black people seem like they don't want to do that anymore. They want to go to other kinds of jobs. I don't know if it's necessarily taking jobs away, but I'm saying that you using that labor where there was a shortfall in that labor, or within that labor market itself, if you understand what I'm saying. But I'll leave it. That's just my thoughts on that question.
I appreciate it, Buana. Black Steel, what say you first to my question? If the shoe was on the opposite end of the foot, if the shoe was on the opposite foot and Senegal was taking in African American asylum seekers, and Senegal had a white or an Asian minority group that felt the type of way, would they be validated in their grievances? And then also, Cheryl asked a question: what jobs specifically are white immigrants taking from Black people in the United States?
Okay, so your first question: if the shoe was on the other foot, if the African nation was taking in African Americans and displacing their non-Black immigrants, right, or whatever. Basically, you're saying, hypothetically speaking.
Yeah, don't get too tired on me, Black Steel. Come on,
now. No. Yeah, I need some of your energy, bro. Let me hold it. Anyway, you ever watch Dragon Ball Z?
Yes.
Yeah, you know how they say how Goku had him do the spirit bomb. Lend me your energy. I need a spirit bomb.
I'm the Goku, you're Gohan, huh?
Thank you. I need that. Anyways, back on topic though. as far as this subject here, right? I believe that United States doesn't operate in good faith, right? I believe that if these South African people wanted to find, first of all, the comparison isn't the same because Senegal is a much smaller country. United States has lots and lots and lots of farmland. Okay, so instead of taking black people's jobs, okay, we're talking about in America how they're deporting all the Mexicans and sending them back. Why not just replace the Mexicans with these Boers? Why you got to hurt black people? You know, you can do this job without displacing African Americans. You can, if you're sitting about these. In fact, if you go to the southern states, especially places like Florida, a lot of Hispanic people are no longer working in construction or picking the strawberries because they're afraid of ICE. So why doesn't he send them, instead of displacing and hurting black people, he can just replace the Mexicans that are leaving? That would make more sense to me. You know, we got a shortage of manpower. All the Mexicans left. Here, go there. So it's very much intentional. This is being done on purpose. And as far as what jobs, I don't know. What I believe is it's probably farm work. More than likely, it's probably farmers. And it's funny because there's a crisis with black farmers in this country, and they recently had some issues dealing with racism. And when Biden was president, he created a special commission to deal with the needs of black farmers. And, you know, once Trump took office, he got rid of that. So I think it's probably more than anything that my thoughts on that there.
I appreciate it. Black Steel One, I appreciate it. Cheryl's getting busy in the chat. Again, if you are just joining in, I am Jacadero, filling in for Brother Koku here on the Bitter Medicine Podcast, Shoot the Breeze, episode 239. And we're discussing our Shoot the Breeze topic number 2. Boers or white Afrikaners from South Africa and America taking jobs from black people. It dealt with the video that talked with, or that had a black farmer in Mississippi saying on how these guys are now taking opportunities away from them. Cheryl says the Hispanics notoriously have cleaning jobs all over the nation, the United States, but continue. Lord of Slaughter says the difference is blacks replacing blacks in the Senegal scenario. Here is whites replacing blacks. Woo! All right, y'all are busy. Speaking of Cheryl, or any of the sister on this next prompt or this next topic, maybe, just maybe, you guys might want to hit that StreamYard link and join in to be a panel, because I was thinking about you guys, because this one hits home for me, but it deals directly with our sisters, huh? So let's get into it. Let's not waste